Ladies and gentlemen, we are at the National Religious Broadcasters Convention, and I have the honor of having a dear friend, Jonathan Feldstein, with the Genesis 123 Foundation with us today. And Jonathan is going to talk about what he was doing on October 7th. He's going to give us a personal accounting and how he and his organization have been taking care of the IDF soldiers. So, Jonathan, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for introducing me as a friend too, because that's the most important. But now I'm trying to think how long we go back and even where that began. I don't know.
I
blessed.
think it has to go back to the time of Rabbi Meister, Rabbi Dr. Gerald Meister, which would have been 2009. That's when he came into my life, and that's when we got.
And you had that wonderful event here.
That's
it
right.
was a breakfast.
Yes.
Yes, and you were super gracious and let me put out information on the chairs. Yeah.
Of course.
Wow. Right.
Anything to help Israel.
Yeah, I know that.
That's PJTN.
I know.
That's me.
I know.
So, Jonathan, we've spoken with several people who are here visiting from Israel. In fact, aren't you excited the number of pro-Israel groups that are here, especially Israeli, who have come?
Correct.
It's fascinating.
Yes.
It's amazing to see. I mean, when we first started out, I had Rabbi Mentz from Chabad in Bel Air come and speak in 2007. I think he was the first rabbi to actually come and speak at an event. And after that, I started telling the NRB leadership, the administration, this is the National Religious Broadcasters Convention. Where are our Jewish broadcasters? Where are our Jewish media? We need to have them here sharing the Judeo-Christian message with us to the world.
Correct.
To show the collaboration between our two countries, our two people.
Because I came here then 15 years ago when it was novel to see an Orthodox Jew walking around the NRB.
That's right.
And now it's not as novel. But I didn't know you said that. That was a very similar message. I said because it's the National Religious Broadcasters, we needed to bring Jews in as well to be part of this, not spectators. And now it's very different now, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so much more encouraging. What do you think? Are you excited about the growth that we're seeing now at NRB?
I'm thrilled with it. I just hope that everyone's coming with pure heart and that we're really building relationships, because you know this about me. It's not all about monetization. It can't be.
Right.
We have to be genuinely building relationships and that are wide and deep. And I met somebody today from another Jewish organization here for the first time, and I was giving counsel as to how to really get in and what to do, because you have to engage people. You can't, I don't know if you know this about me, but I wrote an article back in 2017 after being at an NRB a year or two earlier. I needed to wait because I didn't want any of the people I was anonymously calling out to be offended by my highlighting their stories. There were people who would come here and say, well, I'm Israeli and I'm Jewish and I sell this there and you love Israel and you're Christian, so you should buy my thing. And it was really as gross as that. So I just hope that people are coming here to make relationships.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
But I kind of agree. We should be doing everything we can to help our Jewish brethren.
Okay.
But
many things.
There's many things that we can be doing.
And you do so well.
Oh,
you do.
So do you.
I don't open all of your emails by full disclosure, but I'm inspired by them so much.
Thank you.
And grateful.
As long as when you see that coming across in your email list, I'm feeling inspired. Lori sent me another encouraging email.
Absolutely.
Oh, Jonathan. So let's talk about October 7th.
Yes.
Because we've got a lot of people here who have come over to talk about that. You know, what we can do, what Christians can do to stand with Israel and the Jewish people. Where were you on October 7th?
I was in bed. We were oversleeping because we had walked home from my daughter and son-in-law's house. So it was Shabbat. We walked home from their house the night before, got in at 1 o'clock, which is a little bit late for me, and was planning to wake up to go to services that morning. And, I don't remember to tell people this, but when you're sort of lying in bed and not 100% awake, but nor dreaming, you're aware of things that are going on, but not aware like the lights in our faces here right now and hearing the noises. It felt like I was dreaming, and I was hearing boom, 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 a muffled sound in the distance, which made no sense. So of course thought I was dreaming, for some reason I thought it was tanks being fired, which made absolutely no sense because there are no tanks stationed where we live in the Judean mountains. And I'm hearing boom, boom, boom. And then all of a sudden, this really loud air raid siren jolted us out of bed. I mean, my vision's not that bad, but I even forgot to bring my glasses to the bomb shelter. My wife and I, we only had our 2 youngest kids at home that Shabbat. My oldest son's room is our bomb shelter. Lights were off. We didn't go to sleep on October 6th expecting that we were going to need to be in our bomb shelter. Lights were off, TV was off, and we sat in this dark room for 10 minutes after we heard the boom right over our heads of the Iron Dome taking down the first rocket, the first that was fired toward our neighborhood. That happened 4 more times that morning, to the point that my youngest son, people who have teenage boys will appreciate this, he said, I'm going to sleep in my brother's bed because I'm really annoyed that they keep getting me out of my bed to have to go to the bomb shelter. So he just went to sleep in his brother's bed so he wouldn't have to move, which is funny and crazy. And as Orthodox Jews, not perceiving something that was life-threatening to us, we left our phones off. We left our TV off. We didn't go to synagogue that morning because we had looked out the window and saw everyone walking home. We needed to be near bomb shelters, and that made sense. And I wish I could have been a fly on the wall in my own conversation because I only remember some of it, wondering what's going on. It's not unheard of that rockets reach 40 miles north and east of Gaza in our neighborhood. That's happened before, but it's rare. Once, twice, but 5 times that morning alone, something was going on. And I didn't realize then that the boom, boom, boom that I was hearing before were rockets that were being exploded in communities near us, or Jerusalem, where 2 of my daughters live. And they ran many, many more times. So we were offline, trying to go about our business, having a Shabbat lunch, not going out until 4 o'clock in the afternoon when my oldest son came in, and he was then 24 and now 25, a newlywed. And he said, Iman Abba, I've been called up. I have 10 minutes. I have to get into my uniform and get all my equipment because I have a ride taking me down to the Gaza border. And he told us what he knew at the time, which is laughable, what actually was going on. And one of the most eerie and horrific moments in my life was watching my son get in that little black car and drive off, go into war. But we didn't know what was going on. And that just began the living of a nightmare that we're still in the midst of. I could only be here with you in Nashville today because he's out of Gaza. Always fearful of that knock on the door. And personally, we were experiencing the trauma through my 6 children and my daughter-in-law, who was a newlywed, spending half of her married life not with her husband. And my son-in-law, who was called up on that day to one of the bases that was overrun by the terrorists, and they told him, don't come yet, not safe. And showing how great a man he is, he still regrets to this day that he didn't go down early so he could take on the terrorists. He feels bad that he stayed. And it's a national trauma. That's what we're in the middle of.
It's an overwhelming story, and there's so many stories similar to your story, but your story doesn't end there because you decided, as you always do, Jonathan, to march into action.
I did.
What can we do? How can we serve? So tell us a little bit about that action that you took to try to encourage our brethren, the soldiers that are fighting.
So when my brother and my son and my son-in-law were in the army and they weren't sleeping, and I wasn't going to be sleeping anyway. There's no way to sleep on that circumstance. I use my non-sleeping hours productively to promote a new hashtag, my words are my weapon. I've done dozens of interviews, maybe 100 or more since then, written dozens of articles, brought briefings, prayer events, And that's all really just because that's what I can do. I can't
Right.
pick up arms. I can't go be alongside my son as a paratrooper, protecting him and fighting
Right.
the terrorists. But I did what I could, and I still am. But on October 8th, on behalf of the Genesis 123 Foundation, we set up the Israel Emergency Campaign, not the Israel Emergency Fund, because we need people to engage.
Right.
Fundraising is important, and I'm wearing this jacket because it keeps me warm, but it's also a symbol of something that was so successful.
Yeah, so tell us about this jacket because it's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
I'm just wondering if I can get one.
So the answer is probably yes. Yes, but I have them at home in my storage area. And that time I see you.
I'm coming to Israel.
Okay, in May we'll get
Save
you.
me one.
All right, fine. A medium, I think. Yeah.
I think a medium would be great.
But by the way, this is so interesting. It was hard to get them, the supply chain,
Wow.
and then the Houthis started attacking ships that were bringing them from China.
Oh, wow.
So it took another 2 weeks to get them, and increased the price. So I have 4 vendors that were getting these. So one of the things we're doing is social welfare for soldiers. Men like my son and son-in-law were called up on October 7th. They could wear shorts to battle. It was warm. It was a gorgeous day. But now it's winter.
Yes.
And they didn't leave with jackets. And no one planned a war in the winter.
Right.
We haven't had a war in the winter since 1948. So no one planned that. There weren't 300,000 jackets in different
you don't
sizes
think about that. That's
waiting
right.
for soldiers who were coming from their communities. So one of the things that we've done, a wide array of them, is we decided to do a campaign to raise money for winter jackets. I love that people are donating even $1 to that because
Right.
it means they care. It means it's all they have,
Right.
and it means they care. And it's the sum of all of those jackets, and these jackets cost $140 each. It's the sum of all of that allowed us 2 weeks ago to give out our 1,000th jacket
Wow.
to an elite unit that I wasn't even allowed to take the pictures of the
Oh.
back of their heads.
Wow.
That elite. And that's been one of the things. And we're working with social welfare for at-risk youth. We have helped evacuate and settle a community from the northern Gaza area in their hotel for almost a month in Jerusalem. And the experience that we made their trauma into an experience that they'll never
Right.
forget in a
Right.
positive way. I don't even remember all the things that we've been doing, but it's a lot. And it's because of the support, Jews, of course, but largely from Christians from
Yeah.
all over. Oh, and I have to tell you this. If I die and it's the only thing I've done in my life, and they put this on my grave, one of the hostages taken on October 7th was a Tanzanian agricultural student. When his body was found in Gaza, I immediately contacted a friend of mine who's a pastor in Tanzania, and I said, we need to comfort the family. They're part of us.
Wow.
He reached out to them. He went to the funeral. Because he was representing us and coming from Israel, he was honored to be asked to speak at the funeral, and then was all over Tanzanian state media, TV, radio, newspapers, about building bonds between Tanzania and Israel.
Wow.
And that's all because of the generous support from
Right.
people who donate $1.
That's amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, I know I hear from many of you who email me and you ask me, what can we do? How can we serve? And this is just another way, another example. And it kind of encourages me because we know that we're helping to provide some comfort and some warmth for these soldiers as they're out there fighting. So, Jonathan, as we wrap up this interview, tell our audience how they can learn more about your organization, where they can go to help, to donate.
So thank you for that. So the website is genesis123.co.
Okay.
And all the ways to connect with me are there. All the ways to donate and participate in our petition to get the hostages freed.
Right.
And to donate to the Israel Emergency Campaign or connect.
Okay.
I mean, it really can't only be about money. We're planning a big prayer event, Jews
Right.
and Christians all over the world. We don't monetize that. So genesis123.co.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard from Jonathan and my dear friend. And this is a way that you can do something tangible to provide comfort. You know, Isaiah 40 verse 1, the Lord said to Isaiah, comfort ye, comfort my people, says the Lord. And this is a way that we can do that. And just imagine how it's going to make these IDF soldiers feel that someone in America cared enough to buy a jacket to keep them warm in this battle. So, Jonathan, God bless you. Always good to see you. Thank you so much for being
You're
here.
a blessing. Thank you.